meeting for November 18th, 2019 in order. The notice requirements provided in the Open Publics Meeting Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given in the new schedule of meetings of the Spotswood Borough Council on December 20th, 2018. The new schedule was transmitted to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel. It was filed with the Clerk of the Borough of Spotswood and posted in the municipal building located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey.
Councilman Ritchie?
Here.
Councilman Rivera?
Here.
Councilman Malillo?
Here.
Councilman Kramer?
Here.
Council President Spacuzzo?
Here.
Mayor Sealy?
At this time, we'll go into the engineer's report.
So for the capital project status report, for the NJDOT fiscal year 2020 local aid programs, we submitted an application to the DOT for the 2020 municipal aid program. The application was submitted for Sloan Street, Charles Street, Carroll Lane, Bryan Lane, Rainbow Lane, Eisenhower Avenue, MacArthur Place, Halsey Place, Patton Place, Erdel Avenue, and Manhattan Avenue. For PSE&G, we also met with PSE&G to discuss the second phase of their gas main improvement project. For the Cottage Street area improvements, the contractor mobilized on October 29th and has since installed the new water main on Brookwood Road, Landvale Road, Woodland Road, Red Bank Road, and a portion of Brookside Road. For the improvements to Brunswick Avenue and the Karen Street drainage improvements, bids are scheduled to be received on December 5th. For the improvements to Adirondack Avenue, the borough received a $242,200 grant from the NJDOT 2019 local aid program for Adirondack Avenue from Hudson Avenue to Burlington Avenue. The survey work has been completed and we're working on the project design. And for DeVoe Lake dredging, we issued a proposal for the bathymetry work.
Questions or comments from council? So I'll ask you now for during engineer report, because I know we have some residents that are concerned with the paving of some roads.
So Bruce did meet with Kelly Sutter from PSE&G to review their milling and paving operations. He went out on site today and reviewed some of the roads where they've done access pits and test pits to do their work, where they haven't proposed to do the additional paving. But Kelly from PSE&G is going to take a trip out to the site and re-review those roads to see if we can do full width pavement restoration.
Okay.
So I think right now we're just going to wait to hear back from what Kelly says from her field meeting, from her field visit.
Thank you.
If you got some of the streets have nice holes in them that people are busting tires on it. So they need to get out there and do something.
Yeah, no, PSE&G's, they're milling and paving now, so based on her review and what Bruce and her discussed, we'll have them address any of the potholes that are still there as well.
Stage especially, there's one right by LML and also on Easton area.
Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few on Easton.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything for the engineer? Okay. Tonight we have an ordinance on second reading, ordinance 2019-12, second reading. An ordinance of the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending the portion of Chapter 134, mobile home parks. We have resolutions under consent agenda. Copies of the resolutions under consent agenda are available for perusal only on the table. Anyone desiring a copy may contact the clerk after the meeting. 2019-143, resolution authorizing the Borough of Spotswood through the Spotswood Police Department to participate in Defense Logistics Agency Law Enforcement Support Office 1033 program to enable the Spotswood Police Department to request and acquire excess Department of Defense equipment. 2019-144, Borough Council authorizes Chief Financial Officer to pay the sum of $46,300.77 for a tax sale certificate number 19-00003, $9,300.77 for the certificate and $37,000 for the premium to BB316 Investment LLC. 2019-145, resolution of the Borough of Spotswood to provide for the transfer of year 2019 budget appropriations. 2019-146, resolution authorizing the cancellation of property tax for 125 Burlington Avenue who qualifies for Veterans Property Tax exemption. 2019-147, the mayor is hereby authorized to execute a mutual release of an outstanding water charge for 261 Wyoming Avenue. 2019-148, the mayor and borough council are authorized to execute the appropriate documents to acquire a new fire apparatus from Fire and Safety Services LTD. 2019-149, the mayor and borough council wish to renew the supply and plumbing agreement dated November 1st, 2014 with the Township of East Brunswick for an additional 5 years. 2019-150, the tax collector is authorized to refund $3,304.07 to Getty Properties LLC for overpayment of property taxes for fourth quarter for the property known as 340 Main Street. 2019-151, Borough Council authorized refund of $1,581.89 to be paid to CoreLogic for overpayment on fourth quarter taxes for 183 Snow Hill Street. 2019-152, Borough Council authorizes an interlocal agreement with Middlesex County for the proper removal of chlorofluorocarbons, CFC, for a period of 5 years. 2019-153, payment of bills. Excuse me one sec. 2019-154, the Borough Council authorizes the tax collector to cancel property taxes for 2020 for 6 Sloan Road as of October 30th, 2019. 2019-155, the Borough Council is authorized to execute an agreement for the Spotswood Office on Aging for information and assistance in the amount of $10,000. 2019-156, Borough Council is authorized to execute an agreement for the Spotswood Office of Aging to provide assisted transportation in the amount of $10,000. 2019-157, Borough Council is authorized to execute an agreement with the Spotswood Office on Aging to provide residential maintenance in the amount of $8,892. 2019-158, Borough Council is authorized to execute an agreement with the Spotswood Office on Aging to provide physical activity services in the amount of $4,000. 2019-159, Borough Council is authorized to execute all instruments necessary to purchase police responder vehicle equipment from Major Police Supply for a total of $45,530.80. 2019-160, Borough Council is authorized to execute all instruments necessary to purchase a DVR camera system for the police department from WatchGuard CO Motorola system for a total of $21,835. 2019-161, Borough Council and Mayor approved the extension of Borough of Spotswood and Biles Electric for Mechanical LLC contract for an additional year from December 1st, 2019 to November 30th, 2020. 2019-162, Borough Council and Mayor approved the extension of the Borough of Spotswood and B&W Construction Company contract for an additional 1 year from January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. 2019-163, Borough Council and Mayor approved the extension of Borough of Spotswood and EMR Power Systems LLC contract for an additional year from August 1st, 2019 through July 31st, 2020. Any questions or comments from council? Everybody's good? This time, we'll make a motion to open to the public.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So this public portion is any questions on the ordinance or resolutions. If any new business, you can discuss at our regular meeting immediately following. Just state your name and address, please.
Diane Barlow, 62 Kane Avenue. I would like to know how I can get Resolution 2019-154 for 62 Kane Avenue.
That's a veteran status.
But you're saying... He's not paying anything? It says none. I mean...
Yeah, disabled veterans,
Oh, that's what it was.
Yes.
Because I know it's $250 if you're a veteran.
yeah.
That's... I don't want it, and thank you for doing it.
We would all like to have that.
It's a hell of a way to get it, though.
Not that way, you're correct.
On the checks that we're paying, the bill list, 1901846 on the second page towards the bottom.
Yeah, 1 second, let me just get it out.
I think I left mine.
Sorry, can you say that number one more time?
Sure, 1901846.
01846. Okay,
New Jersey Registrars Association Fall Conference, who is that for?
I specifically, personnel-wise, I don't know.
Sherry, please, and
Is that something to do with the League of Municipalities? Do we know?
That's what I'm assuming it is, the register. Yes.
So does that mean that Dawn McDonald is down at the League of Municipalities?
I do not know. I know contractually, we're obligated to send her if she wanted to go.
So she's out on leave, basically for being a screw-up. And we're rewarding her by allowing her to go down for a week, which I'm assuming that the taxpayers behind me are paying for, so that she gets to go on vacation for a week while we're already paying her for being out of work because she's a screw-up. Is that my understanding of the situation?
I don't know what personnel this is for, Colleen. I can't answer that question.
Okay, so would we have more than one person that would be going down to that conference besides Dawn and Ed?
Sherry, and possibly Christine could go down because she's the alternate registrar.
Yeah, you got, you have 4 people.
That's it.
No, there's Sherry.
Registrar would be Sherry and possibly Christine.
Okay, do we know if either one of them are currently down at the League of Municipalities?
I don't know.
So we don't have any idea where our employees are? Just asking.
Tomorrow, right? Just like tomorrow?
Jackie Palmer, 9 Shupin Street. We already paid $160 for that registration for Christine and Sherry back. I want to say the October 4th bill list, and I'll look it up while I'm sitting over there. So who would the third person be?
Jackie, I
There's
told her.
only a couple people register that are for a registrar. And it's interesting because the date on that bill is the day after you guys had a closed session that you were discussing somebody's employment. And then there was an ex parte conversation that happened between certain people in the mayor's office afterwards, in which I'm sure there was a discussion about this. So I don't know what planet anybody in Spotswood lives on, but in the real world, if you are out on any type of leave, whether it is administrative, maternity, disability, sick, you name it, you don't get the benefit of attending a conference. That doesn't happen in the real world, and it shouldn't happen in Spotswood. But clearly, we don't follow the rules here. And a little later on, I will make sure that you all understand how we haven't followed the rules over the past few years. But I can tell you with 100% certainty, that $80 charge is Dawn McDonald's registration. And I am sure on the bill list next month, we are going to have another conversation about the fact that you all are going to want us as taxpayers to pay for her room and board down in a conference where we don't even think she belongs in this town, working as an employee, let alone down in a municipal conference, which, by the way, is a benefit. It's not a requirement, because you're not there. You're not there, you're not there, you're not there, you're not there. She's not there yet. It's not a requirement. It's a nice to have. And I think that you guys better start paying attention to the nice to haves, because you're raping the taxpayers on your nice to haves.
Steve Runco. So, in same reference to the person that's going down there, Dawn McDonald, is Pat DiFastano going down there? Because isn't she on leave?
Pat D?
Yeah.
She's on medical.
Right, so why isn't she going down there?
Well, if she wanted to go, Steve, she would go.
You're on leave. You don't go to different things when you're on leave, whether it's maternity, whether it's sickness, whatever the case is. You show me in a contract where it says if she's on administrative leave, she has a right to go there. It's not there. You guys are just making stuff up as you go. You know, it's the I said so. Oh, well, she says we have to go, so she has to go. Are we paying for her to go and have a hotel room down there?
Steve, I don't even know who this is in reference to, Steve. I have to get you that
Okay.
information.
Are we paying for Dawn McDonald to have a hotel down there for a week?
We possibly might be, I'm not sure.
How do you not know? Did we pay for a hotel room yet?
We've paid for a few hotel rooms, right? The mayor and,
The mayor and who?
are you going down?
Are there reservations in her name right now?
I don't make the reservation, Steve. I'll have to get back to you
Does.
on that. I don't know, Colleen.
Who makes the reservations?
I don't, did you make,
Is there a reservation in her name?
I didn't make a reservation for Dawn.
okay.
Did you make any reservations?
For other people, yeah, but not for Dawn. I didn't make
All
one.
right, so we're not going to see her name as having a hotel room then?
I'm not saying that, Steve. I'm saying I have to get back to you because I don't have that answer right now.
So it's the most controversial person in town, but we have no clue if she's going down there, if she's got a reservation for a hotel room. We have no clue. That's the answer. Clueless.
Telling you, I'll get back to you.
Okay. So in reference to 2019-143, what equipment and what's the cost for the equipment? The Defense Logistics Agency?
I think this is just, it's not to purchase anything at this moment, Steve. It's just to get in the agreement if we wanted to purchase.
How come the fire department's not in on that?
Most of these Defense Department agreements are with law enforcement. You put in for excess equipment things,
And they have fire department stuff. I mean, military has all kinds of stuff.
but most of the time, these agreements are made with law enforcement.
Most, right, but,
And they're made with law enforcement. If the fire department's eligible for it, then they should look into it, and we would do the same resolution for them.
well, could we look into that? And,
I'm not sure what the fire department's eligible for, so
well, could we find that out?
the fire department would have to find.
I mean, because right now, it looks like we're militarizing the police department.
It doesn't necessarily mean that. They could be getting bulletproof vests for free. They could be getting shotguns for free that aren't being used anymore. We don't know what they're asking for yet.
Or MRATs, or,
Well, we don't know what they're going to ask for.
right, but I mean,
The
it's,
stuff that comes from the military is usually given to you for free.
no, we pay for it.
Big ticket items you pay for. Smaller stuff they'll give you because it's excess.
Taxpayers still pay for it,
I get that.
so it's not free.
Southwood Borough is not writing a check to the U.S. Army for some bulletproof vests, is what I'm getting at.
No, but we're still paying for it.
The military is, yeah, exactly, but we're not paying for it here in town.
Let's see.
If the fire department's eligible for something like this,
Well, let's look into it. I mean, if they can get some fire department stuff, and it's quote-unquote free, let's do it.
go for it, go look.
Steve, right now, there's two sections to that, okay? There's a law enforcement section and emergency management section right now, in which I'm putting the application in now.
Awesome.
Which including the fire department, and it's also including public works.
Good, let's get what we can.
It's being worked on now, in which I have the applications, and I already talked to the deputy chief, and I have to also talk to the chief now,
Awesome.
so.
So in reference to 2019-155 to 158, why are we writing a check out for $32,000?
These are agreements with the county that we do every year, I believe.
No, it's with the Spotswood Office on Aging, not the county.
It's a shared service agreement with the county, I believe.
Part of this is granted by the county.
That's not what it says. So the county's coming out here and doing the yoga?
The county's giving the town a certain amount of money to use towards senior projects.
That's not what any of this is saying. It's saying you guys are authorizing an agreement to provide $10,000, $10,000, $8,000, and whose residential maintenance are we paying for?
the block grant, that we applied for and
Right,
everything.
grant funds.
And every time you take money from there, you have to put a resolution for that individual that you spent the money for. And that goes to a senior citizen that needs assistance in repairing their roof or porch or something like that.
So it's just for maintenance of their properties?
Yeah,
And do they have to apply for that?
yes.
So that'll be operable?
That you would, yeah, you'll have to go through the county for to get the,
No, they should be requesting it through you guys.
This is coming through what's called a Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. It's been going on for years. This is not something,
It doesn't say any of that there.
I'm answering your question. I didn't write this up. I'm telling you what.
Neither did I.
This is just a summary, Steve, though. It's in the resolution.
So the names are in the resolution of who we're going and fixing our houses for?
No, sir. It explains about Middlesex County and the grant.
Okay, well, they should be applying through here because we're paying for it now.
No
no,
one's
it goes
applied.
through the Office of Aging.
Right, it goes to here and then to Office of Aging, which is still the government in
Right
Spotswood.
to- What happens is we apply for the grant.
Then we get the money and we distribute it.
Beginning of the year, we'll go to the meeting and everything, and everybody puts in a request of how much money they want.
Right, that's,
Okay, and the county turns around, and divides it between the Middlesex County towns that are in there. We got, I want to say we got like 30,000, I think it was. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Because I don't have it in front of me. But again, there was part in there, a section for senior citizens who needs help repairing their homes and everything like that.
sure, I mean, I have no issue with that
At one time
depending
we
on
had
what
where
it
we
is.
Put in for the lake. There's also times where we put for repairs on the firehouse.
Okay,
Okay, there's some stuff now they told us that we cannot do, like the lake.
right.
So instead of, losing that money, put it to where senior citizens could use it, who needs help, or doesn't have the money to repair their garage, their roof, porch, or whatever needs to be done.
Sure, I mean, I don't mind that, but I also think that, snow plowing and stuff like that
Yeah.
would be useful, I guess. 2019-159. What equipment are we getting for $45,000?
This was part of the radio project that's been ongoing for the last year or two, I'd say.
Yeah.
To finish up with the 911 upgrade and all the radio upgrade, the new tower and stuff. This is all has to do with that project.
Okay.
Same thing with the net 160 also, Steve. That's all part of that same project.
So where are those cameras going? What kind of cameras are they?
Are they for the vehicles, or are they
For
for...
vehicles, I think it was vehicles.
So all the cop cars are gonna have dash cams?
We don't have it now. This is upgrading the
Yeah,
equipment.
upgrading.
Okay, so that includes the storage then too?
Server for the storage is part of
The
this.
DVR, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cheap for storage as well. All right, I think I got everything. Thank you.
Pretty cheap is a wonderful thing then.
Jackie Palmer, 2019-149. This is the resolution for our agreement with East Brunswick, establishing the metered daily supply of water for 400,000 gallons per day, and extending our contract for an additional 5 years. Why would we ever enter into an agreement for 5 years when none of us likely will ever be making a decision in that
So
capacity?
it's for 5 years, but we have the ability to get out, I believe, after 2.
Did you write that into that contract?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We did that because we're in the process of upgrading and fixing our water plant,
So why do we have to get into an agreement with them for 5 years? Why can't we do a 2-year agreement?
because they wouldn't give us the rate.
In 2014, when this was executed the first time, it was a 15-year agreement with 5-year terms. Each term would be for 5 years.
What's interesting is that it was in 2014, and I'm going to guess that it was negotiated by our business administrator with East Brunswick. Yet, we're going to extend this process even further. So in 2 years, we can cancel the contract. But this contract, we were definitely smart enough to write in a cancellation policy, right? So that we can get out of, isn't that the way you mostly write a contract?
I'm not exactly sure if it's 2 or 3 years in this, Jack. 3 years?
It's 2 years?
No,
I believe
Ted
it's
thinks
3
it's
years.
3.
3
I can-
years?
I can give you definite on that.
We were looking at how long it's going to take to get the waters, to get our water online, and I believe we were told, write it out for 3 years. I could be wrong, it could be the 2.
It's either 2 or 3.
It's
Okay,
either 2 or 3, but we haven't.
We definitely have it in there.
okay.
The other thing is, we're still carrying the same rate from 2014, we didn't go up.
Well, that's nice to know. But again, we should either be, that's a different conversation. I don't understand why, like, we should not be entering into any contract.
We can't get water anywhere else right now.
But I'm not disagreeing with it. What I'm saying is, a 5-year contract is an awful long period of time to lock in
We
your
haven't get out of
taxpayers.
this one,
So it's not going up at all. So the rate is the same for the next 5
The
years.
2014 rate carries over.
So we're paying the same amount for
Yeah, we did.
$400,000 gallons a day
Yes.
since 2014?
The only thing, whatever charge they got an increase from Middlesex Waters passed on to us. but
Right.
The additional charges.
Right, because it did go up since 2014.
Charges didn't change, but they passed that straight through. Their charge for pumping it to us has not changed, it's staying the same. The only thing they've given us,
The
the
water rate is different.
water rate.
Correct,
But they
okay.
don't control that in East Brunswick, that comes from Middlesex Water.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I did have one more question. If someone is
Okay, sorry.
on leave, right, do we cover insurance? So if, let's assume Pat DiStefano decided she wanted to go to the League of Municipalities, and she's out on medical leave right now, and she got into a car accident while she was on her way there. Who covers that? Because it can't be us. Because legally, if you're out on leave, the insurance doesn't cover you. So, do we have insurance? Do we have a different policy than most places?
I don't,
We can end this right now. We have the list of who's going down to Atlantic City this week.
Great, who is it?
Jose,
Ed, Jose, Rob, Shari, Christine, John Jr., and Alyssa is on this list.
No Dawn?
no, don't.
Not on-
Pat D.
Not on this
I
list.
wouldn't assume Pat would
But
go.
no.
And I wouldn't assume Dawn would go either.
But I will look into it for you.
But
because
we
like I said,
can't,
I'm
you
not
know,
sure.
right, because things aren't making very much sense.
So I will let you know. I will ask that question.
And
You
again,
know,
people aren't trusting what's happening here, which is why you guys are getting questioned over and over and over on the same thing, because it looks and smells funny across the board.
Anyone else with questions or comments on the resolutions?
Make a motion to close the public portion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Just give us a minute.
Do we just pull this? I can't vote on it. Do we just vote it separately? Which one? 146.
I wrote myself a note on 146. I'll make a call.
You want to vote on that separately?
So 146, do that separately?
Okay.
Thank you.
Just say the motion on
Union Streets at
147.
Alyssa.
Well, on 147.
147, I'm sorry.
147.
Okay.
Oh, okay, 147.
147, okay.
We're going to put that separately.
On the other side of Old Stage? On the East Brunswick side. Okay. Because they're paving, I know they're milling paving that side.
We're going to do the list, and then she'll do that separately. Okay.
There's a big hole
On Old Stage?
right. There's another one too.
I know Bruce is going to talk to Kelly about doing our side, even though PSCG's work is on East Brunswick side. He's going to try to push to get our side of Old Stage done too. So I know that's going to
hopefully have it go away.
Ray?
But he wants her to go out and take a look at the rest of these streets and then kind of that's exactly.
Or you could say that you consent for 140.
I'd like to call to order a regular meeting for November 18, 2019. The notice requirements provided in the Open Publics Meeting Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given in a new schedule of meetings of the Spotswood Borough Council on December 20, 2018. The new schedule was transmitted to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel. It was filed with the clerk of the Borough of Spotswood and posted in the municipal building located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. I'd like to salute the flag, and I know I did it last meeting, but I'd like to have another moment of silence for all the veterans. It was a Veterans Day, all the men and women who serve and protect us. Pledge allegiance
To the flag.
One nation, under God, indivisible, justice for all.
Thank you.
Councilman Ritchie? Here. Councilman Rivera?
Here.
Councilman Malillo?
Here.
Councilman Kramer?
Here.
Council President Spacuzzo?
Here.
Mayor Sealy? And we have a set of minutes of the caucus meeting of October 21st, 2019.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the caucus meeting for October 21st, 2019.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have another set of minutes of the regular meeting from October 21st, 2019.
Make a motion to accept the regular minutes for October 21st, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have an ordinance on a second reading, ordinance 2019-12, an ordinance of the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending a portion of Chapter 134, mobile home parks.
Make a motion to open this ordinance to the public for public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. We do have our professionals here tonight if anyone has any questions on this ordinance.
Just answer the questions that we asked last week. We have to ask them again.
Well, I'd rather you ask again only because, so I don't forget anything, Jackie. And because the professionals are here so they can answer.
So why don't you just explain it from start to finish and people that we can
This is
understand
Mr.
what it
Lonsky.
means? So what the numbers are, what the ordinance says, what does it mean, and how is it going to affect the residents potentially would be helpful. Please, thank you.
Dave, if you just want to introduce yourself.
I can. My name's David Lonsky. I was retained by the borough to defend property tax appeals and to prosecute property tax appeals for the borough, on behalf of the borough. It came to our attention in doing that, and I should introduce our assessor who's here also, David Jasko.
Sorry, David.
It came to our attention actually before Mr. Jasko was retained that there was a sale of the Clearwater Village property that was far in excess of its tax assessment, which afforded the borough the opportunity to increase the property taxes that were being paid, because under state law, the borough is required to allocate the burden of taxes fairly among all the residents to the extent possible, following applicable laws. So in researching to do that, especially when you have a business that's integrally related to the real estate, such as with a mobile home park, where it's difficult to separate the value of the real estate from the value of the business, there was a series of negotiations that took place between the property owner, through its attorney, and my office, along with Mr. Jasko. And we had a couple of closed sessions as we proceeded through those negotiations, had conversations with the mayor, and to make a long story short, this council has already approved the settlement of that property tax appeal, which resulted in an increase of the property tax assessment to that property that's being phased in over 3 years. The first year is this year, then next year and the following year, there'll be subsequent increases in the assessment. And each increase is approximately 10%, 10 to 11% per year, so that the increase in the assessment would step up over time. As part of the review of that process and in looking at the current ordinance that addresses pad sites, we recognized that there were certain provisions in that calculation that provided for offsets and also provided for specific reductions to the pad site fee calculation that were probably more applicable and more proper dozens of years ago when the agreement was first initiated. So the idea of the pad site fee was to properly allocate the burden of certain public services that the municipality provides to the residents of that community. And in doing that, the agreements, like the property tax bill, goes to the property owner. So the agreement, the pad fee ordinance, tells the property owner how much additional services they use that they haven't paid for through property taxes, and the town bills them for that and they pay it. What's, I think, complicated things is something that's to a certain extent outside the scope of what the council can do, and that's how the owners of the property invoice the residents for those increases. Now, there's, of course, the town sends everyone here a property tax bill and you pay it. If you were renting your property, you may collect some of that from the people who are renting your property. And that's the same thing that's going on with that. So the tax assessor can only assess the property and the town collect the taxes. We don't have a lot of say in how that gets passed on to the residents, except, and I'll get to that in a second, except in one specific area. But to address the specifics of the pad fee, which I understand were the questions that came up last time, I have some of the worksheets that were performed by the borough that I can share. The 2018 calculation for the mobile home fee, and this goes through several variables, such as the population of the town versus the population of the number of residents at Clearwater, and of course the municipal tax rate and a lot of other things that factor into this. But the bottom line is that the proper calculation for the annual cost in 2018 per mobile home is $921.87. And in fact, what this calculation does is it calculates what the weekly fee would be, which turns out to be $17.73. What may have caused some confusion is that when the borough initially calculated that fee, there was an arithmetic mistake, and they came out with about $913. So there's about $7 or $8 difference that the borough, I guess at some point administratively, decided a year later there's no sense to try to collect it, because ultimately the residents would be responsible for paying that increase. But the 2019 calculation, with assuming that the ordinance is adopted, would increase, based upon the 2019 census information and tax rate and all the other variables, would increase the annual cost from $921.87 to $955.56, or an increase, a weekly increase from $17.73 to $18.38. So it would be about a 65-cent per week increase as a result of the revisions to this ordinance, plus the increase in the tax rate and all the other census calculations and everything else that goes into that formula. So I think to cut to the chase, which is, I assume what the question was, that was presented, there would be about a 3.67% increase in the weekly mobile home pad fee charge. Now, the borough also has a rent control ordinance in place that affects that property. And the rent control ordinance sets forth what the maximum increases that the mobile home park could charge to the residents. And that agreement, the rent control agreement that's in place, has a baseline that when it was originally negotiated had X number of dollar baseline in there, so that the increases over that baseline can be, under that rent control ordinance, passed on to the residents. So that's where the increases can be passed along to the residents directly. There are, of course, independent agreements, leases between the property owners and the residents of the mobile home park that will dictate whether or not the maximum increases can be passed on or not. And certainly we don't have the ability to review them to determine case by case how much gets passed on at what period of time. As a borough, we're only charged with calculating what the property tax bill would be and what the pad fee would be. All of these negotiations that took place with respect to the property tax settlement, along with this revision to the pad fee ordinance, were agreed upon by the mobile home park. So it was all part of the settlement agreement that you had previously approved. I'm here for any questions, but I think I've laid out what I know at this point. Hopefully I've answered some of those questions, if not all of them.
Any questions from the dais? Any other questions from the public? Can you just stand up and state your name and address, please?
Grace Constance, within court. My question is, when you were talking about the pad fee, but on my rental notice, there's called a maintenance fee. Is it a maintenance fee? Municipal fee. And I understand the pad fee is included in the municipal fee.
I think they're the same thing. I haven't seen your bills, and that's what I'm saying.
It's not $18.
That was a weekly. I think you probably get a monthly or quarterly bill.
What I got was no increase in my pad fee, in my maintenance fee for this coming year, the 2020. But the pad fee doesn't match what is paid as a pad fee to the borough. The pad fee is, like you said, about $18, but the maintenance fee is more. And I don't know how it gets calculated or who calculates it or on what it's based.
I can't say, I just don't know. I know that each resident gets an invoice that has the itemized charges on it.
So there's
but
a basic rent, which is the COLA controls the basic rent, and then there's the well, anyway, there's another fee, and then there's this maintenance fee. It's called a maintenance fee.
Yeah, I don't know what it refers to.
And from what information I have, the pad fee is included in the maintenance fee. The mayor just gave Lillian a breakdown of what the increase was going to be, but he said it didn't include everything, which is rather vague. So I don't know how the maintenance fee is computed.
Yeah, I don't know, and I think that was the difficulty that I was trying to explain, that we can only address how much the total amount owed would be, not how it's broken down to each particular resident.
The pad fee is broken down when it's paid to the borough. It's a weekly, supposedly, according to the ordinances, the pad fee is supposed to be paid weekly. So what they do, they pay it monthly. So there's four breakdowns of this pad fee. It's supposed to be controlled by how many residents. It's supposed to fluctuate as if we had a rental type park, which we don't. There's no rentals in our park. They're all the residents are home. We rent the space that we're sitting on. That's the rental. So the pad fee is, according to the rules and regulations, the pad fee is supposed to fluctuate with the number. They have to report how many people are living there every week. And then there's another calculation based on the number of houses in the park. It's very complicated. That's your pad fee calculation. But the maintenance fee is...
I'm not sure if, excuse me for interrupting, I'm not sure if the maintenance fee has anything to do with the borough. I'd have to see your invoice. I think the maintenance fee must just be for...
It's a borough's fee.
The maintenance fee, I haven't seen your invoice, but I'm thinking the maintenance fee is from the landlords for your property.
We pay rent. We don't pay the maintenance fee. It's a borough's fee. You haven't heard of it?
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
It's very complicated. You just made an addendum to the rental agreement. The rental agreement originated in 1986, and the mayor was supposed to do the rental fee. He was supposed to monitor and so on. Then there was another, a first addendum, second addendum, third addendum. But the fourth addendum made up a whole new way of paying the rent, and it went into effect 2005, but it didn't, for 2 years there was kind of an exception to it, but it really went into effect in 2007 through 2015, when this property was under an estate trustee. Then it ended in 2015, then it went to the real estate company that managed it. I know this because I moved in 2015, actually 2014, 2 weeks. My first lease was 2015. Then I had a little lease under the real estate company because 2015 expired. And then this outfit that owns it now, that was 2017. So I was under 3 different ownerships. So you have all this, but this maintenance fee, it is broken down on my 2020 rental. It's broken down on my 2019.
Right. I'm not saying that there's not a maintenance fee on your bill. I'm saying that I don't believe the borough has anything to do with that maintenance fee.
It's from the borough because it's part of...
So you'll have to bring it...
The pad fee is from the borough, and the maintenance fee includes the pad fee.
You'll have to bring it in and let somebody look at it to explain it to you.
Well, I thought maybe he would...
No, because I don't think that has anything to do with the borough, so he wouldn't know that answer.
Okay. I would like to have the answer.
So bring the invoice in, and we'll have...
All the paperwork, I got tons of paperwork.
We don't need all the paperwork, just the invoice so you can see.
No, whenever you want to have a meeting, we'll have one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
I'll make a motion to close the public portion, public hearing.
Okay. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to adopt this ordinance.
Excuse me, it's called a municipal fee.
Okay. So
That makes it for sure.
just bring it in and we'll look at it for you. I make a motion to adopt this ordinance on second and final reading and publish it according to law.
Second.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yeah.
Council President Spacuzzo?
Yes.
Council President and council members, I'll take a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda. Resolutions 2019-143 to 2019-163 and 2019-147 is going to be voted on separately.
We want to Yeah, okay. I make a motion to move resolutions 2019-143 through 163, with the exception of 147.
Second.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes, with the exception of 2019-153. I have to abstain from that.
Council President Spapuzzo?
Yes?
And then I'll take a motion to accept 2019-147.
Make a motion to accept 2019-147.
Anybody gonna second it?
I'll second it.
Councilman Ritchie?
Abstain.
Councilman Rivera?
No.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
I'm going to have to say no.
Council President Spapuzzo?
Yes. How does that work, Pat, when there's a,
It fails.
well, the mayor's not here to,
You could put it on next meeting.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Any comments or
Yeah, I got
liaisons from the council?
I got you.
All right. John?
Well, anyway, there's a library meeting on the 21st. You want to see that one yourself, but you got that.
Yeah, I got this.
21st is a library meeting.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do it.
I'll see.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, November 14th, last Thursday, down in Helmetta, the mayor down there, Slavocek, and the chief put a demonstration on. That's Chief Zarrow here, and the West Chief in the state of New Jersey. You entertain the kids with the equipment, you know, what the police officers use every day, what they got on them and so forth. And he did a lot of, kids got a kick out of it. And it was a good time down there. Pizzas and soda. It was a good time. It was all right. It was very good. Did a good job, the chief. And I got to see, well, the 28th is Happy Thanksgiving. So everybody enjoy themselves. We wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. And God bless you. That's it.
All right. Yeah, I was there also. It was called Pizza and Pop with the Cop. And brought my family, my wife and kids. It was pretty good. It would have been really nice if more people showed up because it was kind of thin, but it still was a good time. The chief did a good job, demonstrated all of the equipment that they use, and we had a good time. Also, we have Friends of the Holiday Sale, Friday and Saturday, November 22nd and 23rd, from 1 to 5 p.m. Deck the halls. The Friends of the Spotswood Library will be selling gently used holiday items including decorations, serving pieces, kitchen towels, ornaments, and more. Support the Friends and pick up something new. Friends of the Spotswood Library. Everybody should go. Enjoy yourselves. Spend some time at the library. And that's all I have.
Also, I was at the event too, had a great time. Also, just like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Ed?
Between now and November 22nd, the Senior Center, together with the Knights of Columbus, is doing a food drive for Thanksgiving. It's going to benefit CUP. Between now and November 22nd, the Senior Center, along with the Knights of Columbus, is doing a food drive for Thanksgiving to benefit CUP. So if anybody has any food they want to donate, you can bring it to the Senior Center by the 22nd or anytime before Monday the 25th, the Knights of Columbus, and we'll gladly take it. We're going to make some care packages up and get them out to people that need them. As Jose said, happy Thanksgiving to all.
So I'd just like to reiterate, happy Thanksgiving, safe and happy holiday to all of you. I also like to announce, which unfortunately I don't have the paperwork in front of me. I had it last meeting, but it was before the date that I was allowed to read it. Our police department won the Best of Middlesex County Award. So it wasn't allowed to be read until after November 14th. So that's why I gave the paper back, and I don't have the paper right now. So hopefully by next meeting I'll find it and I'll read the whole accommodation, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that they did win the Best of Middlesex County Award, and we're very proud of them. That's all I have for comments. So at this time, I'll make a motion to open to the public. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. We have 3 fire department applications. Lee Snore, Alex Hartman, and Yash Goswami. Are any of those gentlemen here? No?
They're fired.
I make a motion to accept the applications.
Can't fire a volunteer.
Yeah, we're
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Council President Spacuzzo?
Yes. Kevin, can you just let the gentleman know, and we thank them for their service and wish them safe travels. It's nice to see. Now I'll make a motion open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Any new business that you'd like to come up, make comments on? Now's your time.
When you guys get an email from a resident, what's your normal course of action to respond? Or at least acknowledge receipt?
Depending on what the content is.
Oh, so you wouldn't acknowledge just the receipt of it willy-nilly?
I read all my emails.
Right, I read them all.
Okay. I'm going to read the one I sent to all of you, okay? On October 29th, I sent this to all of you and to the mayor. Council President, council members, and mayor, I didn't express my viewpoint very succinctly at the last council meeting on October 21st, 2019, so I'm taking the opportunity to do so now. The level of incompetency involved in the hiring of the independent investigator is appalling. I find it difficult to believe that you did not see the conflict of interest that your choice presented. Even Stevie Wonder could have seen that asking the borough labor attorney for a referral to an independent investigator was fraught with bad optics, considering that the labor attorney and the BA have a personal relationship. Anybody with half an ounce of common sense would see how wrong that is. But you expected the citizens to just accept this grave mistake at face value and go along with your decision. The investigator never made any attempt to interview the people who filed the tort claims, nor did she attempt to interview anybody who could corroborate the allegations made in the tort claims. So who did she really investigate, and how did she arrive at her conclusions? That's a mystery that the citizens have the right to know. The BA filed claims against 6 police officers. Those claims were investigated by the prosecutor's office, and all were found to be without merit. All of the officers were exonerated of any malfeasance, giving you another example of vindictiveness and retaliation perpetrated by the BA. You left the fox in the henhouse to continue her reign of intimidation far too long, and only put her on paid administrative leave when the citizens complained and you finally realized how lame you were acting. We shamed you into action, and that's pathetic. Ms. McDonald needs to be dismissed immediately for a plethora of reasons, but first and foremost is the fact that she isn't a Spotswood resident. That automatically disqualifies her for her position. She should never have been hired in the first place. I must admit that I'm totally disgusted by your lack of honesty and transparency regarding this whole issue. None of you have acted in good faith for the benefit of the taxpayers in this borough. I'm sure the Attorney General will be picking up the ball to further this investigation to its fair conclusion, and all of you will look like fools and puppets. Actions have consequences, and lack of action has consequences as well. Thank you.
Cheryl Bass, Main Street. I also want to say a happy Thanksgiving to everybody, a happy holiday. I'm happy to see Resolution 2019-143 and Resolution 2019-148. One concerns the fire department and one concerns the police department. And I was a challenger during the election day. So I went to all of the election sites, all the districts, and the firehouse is included in that. There were 2 districts at the firehouse, and along comes someone who was associated with the fire department, and right away all the poll workers say, there was no heat, it's freezing in here. It was, and the person said, I put on the heat from 2 days ago, it should have come up. And another one says, the door doesn't lock, and the door does lock, and if you go out the door, you can't get back in. And the person came in to vote, and this is what the person met up with. So I had said that when we have our next meeting, I would certainly come up to the microphone and I would say the fire department needs to have monies allocated so that the fire department is in the modern day technology area, that everything that they need, that they get. The police department needs to have the newest technology. We have to have our fire department, our police department respected, and they have to have new equipment, the firehouse, the police department, and all that's associated with them. So my suggestion is, when you're looking to do the budget, take out old stuff that is anachronistic, that has gone out of style, and look to allocate more money to the fire department. The people involved have to be safe. The police department has to be safe. And to look to strengthen and gain more respect. I'm so happy to hear that the police received this award. This is a tremendous accomplishment. And the people involved have to have the latest technology for what they do, the police department, the fire department.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Jackie Palmer. Ted, are you guys taking like the frozen turkeys that we get from ShopRite?
We can take those at the nights. You can drop those off Sunday or Monday at the nights. We'll put them in the freezer.
Okay, so you have space to drop them?
Do. Frozen
Okay.
turkeys or frozen hams, we'll take them. We'll put them in the
Perfect.
nights.
And what day was it?
Perfect.
Sorry.
You may have mine.
We're gonna start doing them Monday nights, so anytime over the weekend,
Okay.
somebody will be there all the time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Friday, because that's when the senior center's going to be closed after Friday.
Okay, thank you. Can you guys tell me, who is the firm Abruzzi's, McDermott? Who are they?
Where do you see them?
It was in some past bill lists for this year that I seen. Was that,
Pat, do you know?
I almost want to think that's bond counsel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
because it's listed as Labor Council.
What was the names again?
Abruzzi's, Abruzzese, McDermott.
Yeah.
It's Art Tebow.
Oh, okay.
And then Cleary, Giacobbe, Alfieri, and Jacobs is Abronson's firm, yes?
I believe so.
Okay. So then my question to you is, we have had bills on the bill list in 2019 for Art Tebow, who is no longer our labor counsel. And we are being billed by our current labor counsel, who's Abramson.
Jackie, do you know specific
Of
dates?
course, I know the
anything?
dates.
That's why I asked, just so we can look at, because it might be
Specifically,
something that was
May
held over.
May 24th, 2019 was an invoice. And June 27th, 2019 was an invoice. And there were likely some prior to that.
That was
I didn't
from
write them
Art.
down.
From-
That's from Art Tebow's
From,
That's from Abruzzi's and McDermott.
okay.
So to Diane Charlesworth's point, I too sent an email to you. I've sent a few, nobody answers. I don't think that that's really a good public relations policy to have, to ignore a resident when they send you an email. I think that even if you wrote back received or acknowledged, or you don't have to comment on it, but to let the residents know, because I know I sent an email, I know now Diane sent an email, and I believe that there were others that sent emails to you as well, requesting the very same thing in different ways. That's poor public relations. That's really an insult to me and to people who think that we're reaching out to our municipal government, whom we elected into those seats, and you're choosing to disregard, as if we don't really exist. And while you can tell me that you cannot talk about these things, I have OPA requested, as I'm sure you know, because now apparently my OPA requests go to the attorney as well. I'll high five you. I OPA requested Dawn's employment history with the borough. It's very interesting. So if you don't know about it, I'm going to tell you. In April 17, 2006, Dawn McDonald was hired into the borough as a part-time confidential assistant to Pat DiStefano. How much was she making, do you want to know? $12.50 an hour. Part-time. That's $13,000 a year in 2006. In 2008, she was appointed as the part-time deputy municipal clerk, and she got a raise to $16 an hour. That's $320 a week at 20 hours a week, and only $16,640 a year. She held that role until sometime around 2010. She was appointed through June 30th, 2010. Some point, because it's not clear, because I didn't get the actual dates that she was employed, I had to extract the information. She left the borough. Whether it was on good terms, whether we let her go, it's unknown. Fast forward 2.5 years. On June 1st, 2013, or roughly around that time, we had a resolution, 2012-14, that council waived all of the requirements, the bachelor's degree and the residency requirement for Dawn McDonald to become a business administrator at $83,000 a year. That was a 500% increase in just 3 short years. And unqualified. Guess who was the council president that signed that resolution? Mayor Sealy. In July 1st, 2013, she got a salary increase to $88,000. In January 2014, she got an increase to $93,000. On May 19, 2014, she was appointed as the alternate registrar of vital statistics, but thankful to the residents, she wasn't paid a stipend for that, so she didn't get an increase. January 1st, 2015, her contract said that she would get a salary increase that was comparable to every other borough employee. So since I'm not 100% sure, I'm going to just assume, based on the numbers that I saw, that's about 2.5%. So her salary went up to $95,325 in 2015. In 2016, her salary went up, assuming the 2.5%, $97,708. I'll go back to say, Mayor Sealy hasn't been elected yet, but we've increased her salary in numerous times. For someone who went making $12.50 an hour to now $93,000, it's very interesting, $97,000. Apparently, rumor has it in this town, because rumors run rampant, that there was some kind of a connection between Mayor Sealy and Ms. McDonald during the election. And that all of the agreements that were happening behind closed doors. And I'm telling you this story because some of you don't know. Some of you do, some of you don't, most of you don't. That's how Dawn got the window office instead of Ed. That's how she got her $10,000 raise. On January 4th, 2017, we had a resolution that reappointed Dawn as the business administrator. Resolution 2017-34 accepted an employment contract. That was interesting because the prior administration actually was smart enough to have in her contract that, how did he write it? It was based on sufficient performance was originally in her contract. Funny, this new contract doesn't have anything about her performance listed in there. So, and what's even more interesting is when we talked about the cancellation policy piece of it, there's nothing said in there, doesn't say what she's responsible to do. It only says what the borough is responsible to do for Dawn McDonald in her contract. So her original resolution and contract read that in 2017, she would get $100,644.37 a year. 2018, $103,180, 2019, $105,760, 2020, $108, $404.50. But as you guys know, in 2017, August 14th, there was a revision to her contract. She was given an increase to $110,000 in August of 2017. That's a 10% increase in the first year. She's then given 3% every year. So in 2018, last year, her salary was $113,300. This year, $116,699. And next year, should you choose to keep her on the payroll, it will be $120,199.97. Our median income in Spotswood, $56,000. And she doesn't have the qualifications that were waived 7 years ago, when only one of you were here. Actually, you're right, you were not here. None of you were here. So my point about you guys entering into any kind of contracts for multiple years, some of you won't be sitting here at that time, so how can you make a judgment or decision for people when you may not be sitting in that seat? In her 10-year business administrator, Dawn McDonald has seen a 40.5% increase in the past 7 years. 40.5% increase. I don't get 40.5% increase. I'm 100% sure none of you sitting up there or anybody gets a 40.5% increase. When she was brought back, I told you, 500% increase. But if we assume she was full-time, 250%. She has cost the taxpayers to date in her salary $712,176.37. That does not include her benefits or any of the extras that are in her contract that we're responsible for reimbursing her for. And she has gotten away with the terrorization of the employees of this borough and the residents of this town who have had to deal with her. This year, I counted over $53,000 in labor attorney costs that we've had to pay out. Because why? Because the business administrator can't do her job and she's unqualified, so she has to contact labor attorneys to understand what is being presented to her. So assuming that that's the norm, that's another $371,000. So at the end of this year, our nightmare, the taxpayers' nightmare of Dawn McDonald's terrorizing our municipal employees, the people that work here, the police officers, the residents, and sitting on her, behind collecting our tax dollars, $1,083,000 after this year. On what? In her contract, there's no qualifications, there's no job description, there's nothing. How long are we gonna let this go on? And how long are you guys gonna sit there and stare at us as we're all standing here telling you, you've made a mistake, he's made a mistake? Who's gonna be held accountable for that $1 million? And that doesn't include the lawsuits that are coming at us. So now, assume $1 million a lawsuit? I don't know. I can't afford $8 million. I don't know about anybody else, but if we have to pay that, no one can live here. We might as well go bankrupt. We might as well let Helmeta take us over. We can't afford that. And this also doesn't include the amount of money that Dawn's benefited from on her tax dollars in East Brunswick by negotiating all of our contracts, which we found, the water contract was, what did we do before that? What did we do before 2014? Where do we buy our water?
I don't know.
Because clearly we had water.
I don't know if we needed to at that time.
Well, if the storm happened in, what year was Sandy, and right, so what year? 2012, and we went down, right? One of our pumping stations went down in the storm, so I'm going to just do the rough math and assume that that's 2 years somewhere we had to get water. Where were we getting our water from?
Lake. I think we're getting We've been buying from for almost 20 years.
There you go.
So before?
Well before.
Yeah. So why was our contract only in 2014?
The contract expired, the original contract expired. That contract was set up because we were allocated only so much water to be taken out of the ground from our wells. We didn't meet that quota, so we had to buy it from somewhere.
So we've always bought from East Brunswick, or we bought from the water company?
No, we bought from East Brunswick.
So they pumped, but the water doesn't come from East Brunswick. I mean, it comes from Middlesex Water.
That's changed hands a couple years.
Okay. The problem I see here is that, and to Diane's point, y'all look foolish. No one's saying a word. While I understand that nobody wants to put their neck out there to say that they don't agree with this, y'all look like you're in cahoots with everything that's going on. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, whether you're gonna, you all look as if this is your decision as a collective team. And if you guys don't start standing up and saying, I do or I don't agree with this, or you're right or you're wrong, the assumption is going to be that you were included in all this nonsense from the beginning. And it doesn't look good. It looks like corruption. It looks like collusion. It looks like a number of different things that make our small town an embarrassment. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to know that we're paying someone a ridiculous amount of money who's not even qualified to hold the job. And that's crystal clear when we're spending so much money on attorneys. My last question. What does the council attorney do as opposed to the labor attorney?
Pat, he writes the resolutions, ordinances.
Attend a council meeting, obviously review all ordinances, resolutions, deal with the borough engineer. Right now, we are in the process of acquiring approximately 30 parcels for the sidewalk improvements. We are in the process of acquiring the property on Main Street. I mean, they're literally daily, day-to-day interactions with the council.
Don't misinterpret my question, though, because I'm aware of what you do. I'm trying to decide what you should be doing as opposed to what the Labor Council should be doing. And the other question I have is, do you attend all council meetings no matter what? Or do you send representation? Like, are there any, like, could they run a meeting without you, is what I'm asking.
No one is irreplaceable. If the president dies, there'd be another president. So somehow I believe there could be a council meeting without me. But I don't believe I've missed any. Have I missed any? I don't believe so.
All meetings? I know one he didn't come to, maybe he wasn't invited. It was the last closed session. There was no council.
Well, council meeting, it's scheduled council meetings.
Oh, it was advertised and scheduled. But my guess is that you weren't told about it. And that's my question is, if you guys have council representation, who represents your council, and I understand that the labor attorney represents the labor interests of the administration, but when you have a ginormous problem such as this, where obviously your labor council is having their best interest is for whatever purpose with our administration or telling you, by the way, I heard that she's covered under the Whistleblower Act, and that made me actually giggle because you're only covered under the Whistleblower Act if your accusations against somebody actually come to fruition. If you lie about them and they're false, you're actually just a liar. You're not actually a whistleblower, so you don't get covered under the Whistleblower Act. You just can't make things up and say stuff about people, and then when it's investigated, like the police officers, and they get exonerated, you can't say, oh, I was a whistleblower. No, you were wrong, and you're a liar. So I hope, and I know you will say, we can't do anything, it's the mayor's. Well, you know what? Force the mayor's hand. This is the taxpayers' dollar, and the taxpayers, I'm 100% sure, are tired of this farce and this game and this amount of money that we're spending. That's ridiculous. So do your job.
Good evening, everyone. Colleen Ronco, Manalapan Road. I do have a couple of questions. We were talking about the water earlier today. And I had read something in, I believe it was Tap Into, that they had done some water studies and that we had large amounts of hexavalent chromium coming from the East Brunswick water. Has anybody looked into that to see if that's the case?
It's the first I'm hearing of it, Colleen.
Yeah, it was in the newspaper. There was, at one point in the article, it said it's at 20 times what it's supposed to be at. And hexavalent chromium is a pretty serious chemical to have in water. I mean, it's not...
You said it was on Tap Into?
It was on Tap Into, yeah. They had done a study on a bunch of the water.
I will definitely look into it, because obviously if there's an issue...
Anywhere else, or was that it?
No, it was in different places in Jersey. There was a whole...
Was that just published in Tap Into?
That was the only place that I had seen it. I didn't really go and investigate to see if it was in any other...
When I seen that, I did talk to Fred.
Okay.
Fred said that they did testing on different sections of the town and everything like that, and all the tests came out good.
Okay, but that was done through the state, so why would that be reported differently? I mean, I think at the very least, we need to look into it, because if that's the case, I mean, we're talking about, the whole Aaron Brockovich thing happening in East Brunswick.
When I seen that, I turned around and contacted Fred. Fred turned around and said, no, that they did all the testing and everything like that, and all their tests came back perfect. They were good.
The Tap Into article, was it saying that East Brunswick water had this issue?
It was, yes, it said East Brunswick. And so I was just curious as to what that is. I mean, I can always request those results from the state. Maybe we can compare them from them and see what because I mean, that's a serious issue with that. I want to bring up another issue. I've brought this up before. First, there was all of my OP requests going to the attorney for review, as well as my husband's. Then we had the code enforcement guy just arbitrarily stop at our house in his personal private vehicle after hours to inform us that I couldn't have a political sign in front of my house. And then for 3 weeks in a row, my garbage wasn't picked up. Everybody else's on Manalapan Road was picked up. Mine wasn't. My garbage sat out there. And the best part about it was that I was sent pictures of another home in town where they were clearing the house out because the parents had died, and they had everything, including a metal gas can, which the Spotswood Department of, thank you, gladly picked up. So, again, I'm going to make it a point of stating that because of my political views and the fact that I come up here every week and bust everybody's chops, I am now being retaliated against by the administration. And just so you know, Seeley's kid was on the truck that week. Shocked.
Colleen, that is something that I will personally look into, because it's not right, and you know how I feel about things like that.
I would
So-
appreciate that. I mean, it did get picked up after I threatened to throw it on the mayor's lawn if it landed in my front lawn again.
Do you, not that it makes a difference whenever it was, but it was, you said 3 weeks?
It was not this week, it wasn't last Monday, it was the 3 weeks prior to that.
Okay.
3 weeks in a row you weren't picked
3
up?
weeks in a row. Oh, I shouldn't say that. There was 1 week where they picked up 1 bag and left all the others.
Oh, we'll look into it.
Thank you. So I too also sent an email with respect to the letter that was sent out and the issues going on with the independent investigator. And as was stated earlier, I mean, I'm not expecting you to personally sit down and type me a 17-page response, but an acknowledgement that you got it and at least read it would go a long way. You know, I can't imagine that you're getting thousands of emails a day. I mean, this is a little municipality, and I'm not trying to say that what everybody's doing here is not important, because I'm sure that there are other issues besides me standing up here with mine that go on a daily basis. But just if you could just, somebody, I don't care who it is, there's 5 of you, just somebody go, yeah, we read it. So at least I know that it was read and responded, or, and you guys are aware of that. I do want to bring up one other issue. I brought this up months and months and months and months and months ago. We are coming up on the Christmas tree lighting on December 7th. I do expect to see the menorah next to the Christmas tree.
I know the mayor had sat down with the rabbi.
Okay.
And discussed that with him already, so I can't speak for what the resolution was with the mayor, but I know that was a discussion already and it was taken care of. But Colleen, I will ask the mayor that also for you.
Because the mayor was very blatant the last time I stood up here and spoke about that and said that he did not feel that the menorah should be out front. I, however, do have an issue with the menorah being behind the building, out of the way. We have a Jewish population in this town. They have every right to have their holiday symbol next to our holiday symbol. And as the mayor said, it is in fact a Christmas tree, which clearly screams holiday. So I would be really disappointed to think that we would have some kind of undertone.
No, like I said, I know the mayor had the
meeting with the rabbi?
Yes, the rabbi actually came here and they discussed position of everything. So I know the mayor had, after you spoke to it last time,
Okay.
he looked into it. I just can't speak for what the resolution has been.
Okay.
But I know
Yeah,
for a
that's fine.
fact that they did meet and came to a resolution.
Okay. What's the status of the house on Main Street? I mean, have we purchased it? Are we purchasing it? Are we,
We're in a process.
okay, have we done any additional studies on anything? My concern is, here's my concern, I'm going to be honest with you. That building's been here for a gazillion years. It's got lead-based paint, and it is 50 feet from a school. How are we going to raise that house without that lead-based paint particles going into the air and affecting the kids over at Appleby?
That will all be looked into and taken care of if, in fact, that is the case. None of us want to have anything endangering any resident, especially children. So if that is the case, we will do appropriate,
Okay.
take
And-
appropriate cautions.
There's one other thing. Larry, I know my neighbor, Bill, had spoken to you about some garage sale ordinance thing. Have you spoken with him? Because he's kind of,
I spoke to Charlie, we're
Okay.
gonna work on extending that to
okay. All right,
6
perfect.
a year instead of 3.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Colleen, now,
Yeah, because he lives next door to me, so he just asked because he knows I go to the meeting, so I said I would bring it up.
so just so everybody's aware of what this was, that a resident had brought to our attention that we only have 3, you're only allowed 3 garage sales a year, because they don't want to have somebody have a...
Make a store out of it.
Right, make a store.
So we're going to discuss about possibly opening that up to maybe possibly 5 or 6, just adding a few more to that. So.
That's all I want to-
I just want to make sure everybody was aware what you were asking.
And it'll be like, you do 2 a month, or you do all 6 a month, but they only get 6.
Right, correct.
You know, however
Right.
you decide to do it, whether it's 2, 2, and 2.
Right.
1, 1, and 1, however, but it'll be limited to
Yeah, I think what he was looking more to do was like from April to like October kind of thing, where
Yeah.
he could do like 1 a month.
Yeah, I
because
spoke
he is
to
on the
him
main
about
road,
it.
Yeah, it's
so.
something that Larry and I discussed, and we discussed.
And
it.
actually, I like it because I get to go next door and I don't have to go running around town. I can just walk out my door, so I'm okay with that. All right,
Yeah,
that's,
you can let them know we're working on it.
okay. And I think, yep, that's all I have. Thank you.
Another was.
Diane Charlesworth, Old Stage Road. There was some conversation on the Facebook We Are Spotswood page regarding leaf bags and how we seem to have a lesser amount of them this year to give out to residents than in years past, and that they seem to not be given out in the same time frame that they have been in years past. Do you know anything about that?
I don't, Diane, I can find out from Public Works.
Fortunately, my husband's very proactive and we got ours. But there were a bunch of folks who were grumbling about it.
Everybody goes down to
I
Public Works
went
on
down
Saturday and
and I
pick up
got
the
10.
bags.
The undercurrent that I heard was that the time frame was shortened and that it was,
When it was open to go get them?
the period, like from what to what, from what date to what date was shortened.
Oh, okay.
And that they ran out of them early.
Okay, there you go. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Steve Ronco. So I did an Oprah request not that long ago for Oprah logs in case the clerk has them from 2017, 18, 19. And if there wasn't any logs that they kept, I wanted all Oprah requests from January 1st, 2017 on. I requested about 50 towns. I had one town that requested a 4-week extension. Guess what town that is? Why do you need extension on logs?
Steve, I'm going to just venture to say that because Alyssa's here alone and not Pat, and she's filling in.
That's not a legal reason.
I don't know, I'm just letting you know my opinion. But I can look into it and see what the reasoning is. I don't know how big your Oprah request is or anything like that, so I need to look into it.
I got requests back the same day from towns.
I don't know what your request was, Steve, so I'd have to...
I just said it.
Right, but I
Oprah
don't
logs.
know how many logs or much information on our end that we have to go through.
It's not gonna be that many.
Okay.
And you don't even have to redact them. It's just a log.
I don't know, so I'll let you know.
I'm telling you, it's a log.
Okay.
There's nothing to redact, it's a log. Usually what happens is the clerk fills it out and puts a number on it, assigns a number, and gives a brief description of what the Oprah request is and a name and maybe when it's due. It's something that usually clerks do, and if that's not available, then I wanted all Oprah requests from 2017 on, and I just get a blank extension. Extending what? Do you have logs? Do you not have logs? And the request is denied. I have every right to deny that extension, that request for an extension, because it is just an extension. There is no legal basis to request an extension. Why is it an extension, attorney? You do Oprah requests, right?
First I ever heard of it. First I heard of it, and we'll look into it.
Every single time I ask you about Oprah, I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
Steve,
Every single time.
I'll get you the information tomorrow, Steve. I don't know what's involved with your request. I don't know if we have the logs. I don't know any of that, so I'm going to get you that information.
Neither do I. The response was, oh, I'm just getting an extension. 4 weeks. So I have no clue if you have logs. Do you have logs?
From what I know, we don't have logs. So being that I wasn't here 2007, 2018, I have to go through whatever Pat has on file. So that's going to take me quite a lot of time.
You didn't write that in the response.
Well, that's what it is.
Okay. Again, there's no legal reason for that, so that request is denied. So again, discrimination against myself and my wife, it's well documented. Here it is again another time. I still have my political signs out in front of my house. When am I going to receive my summons?
Steve, I'm not
Yeah,
writing
I'm on
summons.
summons. Well, you said that the ordinance is on the records.
Right.
I want a summons.
I'll get the police.
Please don't issue summonses for that. So when am I going to get my summons?
I'll have the code enforcer look into it.
Well, he already told me he's not going to give it because it was found unconstitutional. But your opinion was, based on the dissension, that it is constitutional. So what's your opinion, since you're the legal person here and he's not? Is that ordinance constitutional or not?
I'd have to review the ordinance.
This isn't the first time I brought this up. I mean, what do you do?
Steve?
I'm asking him a question. What do you do?
I represent the mayor and council.
No, you represent the people.
No, I represent the mayor and council. I'm a legal representative of the mayor and council and do what directed by the mayor.
So again, so is that ordinance legal?
He'd have to review the
I
ordinance.
have the
Steve.
ordinance in front of me.
What?
The mayor and
Where did you
council-
get your law degree from?
Steve?
Let me tell you something.
Tell me something, go ahead.
Treat me with courtesy, and I will treat you with courtesy. That is
treat you
not...
as a public official.
Sir,
I treat you as a public official.
Sir, that is not the way to treat an individual. And I know the rest of the council here is keeping their mouth shut. I treat everyone that I deal with courtesy. And
You don't
Jackie
do
knows this,
anything,
I
though.
dealt with her. That is not...
What are you doing?
I represent this borough, and in my mind, in a very
Horribly.
exceptional way.
Horribly.
And you may disagree.
I absolutely do
And I
disagree.
probably have a different opinion of you, too. So isn't it a great country that we can do that? If
Well,
the
no, you're a
mayor-
public
if the-
official.
If the mayor and council ask me to review the ordinance, I will be happy to do so. End of discussion.
So are you going to have him review it? Because your opinion was absolutely wrong, and you're not a legal person, he is, but yet he still hasn't looked at it.
Steve, I'll have him review it.
All right, so I'm looking forward to my summons.
Jim Wallace, Woodland Road. I'd like to thank you for your presentation. Opened my eyes up to a lot of things. And I'm happy that we have people in this town keeping an eye on things, okay? Because I certainly don't have the time to do it. Thank you very much. I wouldn't want to be you guys, all right? You guys are in a bad position. I lost, what was I going to think? Oh, the veteran, the disabled veteran, does he need any assistance, or did anybody look into that?
I'm not sure. Jose or Larry, do you know anything about the gentleman that?
I didn't even know anything about him until just, the last meeting.
I was just curious, if anybody, I don't know,
Not every 100% disabled veteran is completely disabled. They're disabled according to the military. I have a friend who is 100% disabled. Still gets around, still functional, still able to do things, not at the same level that you and I do, but he's
I was just curious, that's all.
So it may be the same situation with this gentleman, but at 100% disability from the military, you're entitled to that exemption.
And I'm on the cottage streets, they're redoing them. Other than the coffee cups, the guys picking up the newspapers, reading them, everything seems to be going pretty good. Thank you.
Edward Smith, 395 Old Stage Road, Spotswood, New Jersey, and I believe that's the way it's supposed to be done for everyone. Okay, thank you. My question deals with the garage sales, yard sales, whatever. Is that 3 days, going to 6 days, or is that event? So like if you have Saturday and Sunday, that's one?
I'm not sure how the ordinance reads. If one permit is for...
One permit is for 2 days.
Okay, so, thank you.
Right.
Thank you, I just wasn't sure. That's
So right now it's 3, and we're thinking about extending it a
Right,
few
right,
more.
no, I have no issue with it. At all.
Hi, Ann Wallace, President of the Trustees of the Library. First of all, the Friends of the Library are collecting socks and mittens for CUP. It's starting now. You can drop them off to the library. And also, have any of you been in the parking lot in that new, supposedly, pharmacy? I'm not joking. It's terrible.
Terrible. It is
I mean,
absolutely
it's like
horrendous.
they put cement
Yes.
in it last year, thinking that was going to help, and now we got bigger craters. Is there any way you can get after? I mean, because it's not just for the library. That library goes around and out that way. Everybody does that to come out. It's not just for the library.
We can, I'll have someone reach out to the...
Because it's bad. It really is. I mean...
I looked into it last time you said something.
Yeah, but I know, but it really needs to be looked into, though, please.
Yeah.
It's the it's the building.
It's private property.
Yeah, that's the, right, it's private property, but we can reach out and see.
Conley Ronco, 118 Manalapan Road. I just have one other thing that I just want to address real quick. There's all these events that are going on, like they were just saying the library event and the Knights of Columbus event and the Cops event. To be honest, the reason why nobody's there, nobody knows.
Yeah.
These things literally show up at the last minute on Facebook. There's got to be a better way to get this stuff out there because, I mean, this is a small town, and I'm always saying to my husband, you know, if I had known about the Cops in whatever event, I would have gone to that. You know, I found out through the American Legion that they were doing something with the military boxes, you know, sending stuff overseas to the military veterans. But I mean, these are all things that should be in like one location so that people can go and look at. I don't know if the website's not being, or if maybe we need to send out an alert or do some, have maybe a spot, an actual, not a We Are Spotswood page, but an actual Spotswood page run by the municipality so that everything's in one location that we could go and look at it.
So I'm going to look into the Nixle service that we have going.
Okay.
Because I think we have, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was 3 levels, and we were allowed to take advantage of sending out text message, or at least, maybe not text messages because they were for emergencies, but emails with services, with events like that. So I'll look into that.
But see, what also happens with the Nixle is once you start doing a lot of community
Well, that's
stuff
what it
and
is.
like that, the emergency part comes into effect.
And then nobody listens to it.
Well, that's why I think it's just emails. I don't think it's text messages. So I have to look into that.
Yeah, because if we could do something where it's just all in one location so that everybody knows, I think you'd have a lot more people showing up at these events.
But
I
if you
mean,
give Kate a call, and she runs the borough website, handles the borough website, she can put things on if you'd like her to.
I think we need a Facebook page. I really do. I think we need like a Spotswood Borough, not a police department page, because that's run by the cops and that's got, you know, the traffic alerts and stuff like that on it, but an actual Facebook page that is run just by somebody in the borough, just to post those type of things. I mean, even like as far as the police department being voted #1 in Middlesex County, I mean, except for the 30 people in this room, nobody's going to know about that.
So it's funny you say that, because they said that we weren't allowed to discuss it because it was going to be in the newspaper. And did anyone see it?
I haven't seen anything, and I
Okay.
usually get something.
Because that's why I couldn't announce it the last meeting. But I'll look into the Nixle, Colleen, and then for now, until we come up with a solution, if anyone needs to, they can call Kate,
Okay.
and we can put something on the borough website.
Because, I mean, I don't know, maybe a flashing sign out in front of the police station, I mean, something, just so that we've got something in one location, because I think there's a lot of people and a lot of community atmosphere that could be a lot better off if we could all be at these events and not know about it at the last minute. Thanks.
Understand?
Can we put things on the sign out here at the high school?
I don't know if we have,
No, that's
that's Board of Ed, so I'm not sure if we're allowed to do that.
the board of education.
I thought you weren't coming up.
Uh-oh, it's a race to the mic.
The race.
I wasn't coming up. So here's me with my helpful little tips. Dulcie Branco Rivera, 46 Herbert Avenue, Spotswood, New Jersey.
Absolutely. Fine. Perfect.
So, listen, I know about your job because you know I used to do it on the other side. And it's hard, and it's very time-consuming. But you each are assigned departments. Just like, I mean, I had, my people were all assigned various things. And I really think it's time that maybe we spend a little bit more time talking to the department heads of those departments, so that when you come to these meetings, when people start asking questions about what the police department is getting, what the fire department is getting, what public works is getting, whatever, whoever has that department actually has the answers because you've asked. Charlie, you can't hold on to every piece of knowledge. It's impossible. I love you, honey, but you're not that good, okay? Nobody is. Nobody can hold that much information. But, if he knows everything about public works, and he knows everything about fire department, he knows everything about, the police department, we here would get more answers as opposed to you having to keep writing in your freaking little book there, question after question after question, because then everybody goes home and nobody does anything because you're the one with all the questions, and you're the one always responsible, and we're never going to move forward, and we're never going to get the answers that we need. So I really think the council as a whole needs to start getting just more responsible for the different areas, and whether you have to redole them for whoever's got time to talk to whomever, do it. And then that person can also come to these council meetings, and whoever has the school, talk about what's going on at the school. The Memorial School play is coming up this coming week. Nice little production there for the kids, Whoever has the library can talk about what's going on in the library and such. And at least it would be one way of getting this information out at least twice a month. Steve does a lovely job videotaping and posting. People watch it. By the way, there is a Spotswood Borough Facebook page that nobody manages, but you do own one. It's out there. So you might want to get somebody up there too. And the webpage, of course, we won't get into that because I hate it. But if we would do that, it would really help to get more information out to the residents. And as far as that, the pizza with the cop thing, it's a lovely event, but it was always touted as a Helmetta event because it was the Helmetta mayor who was there. And nothing against the Helmetta mayor, and nothing against, anybody, them doing it. They should do things for the residents. But you know what? It would be really nice if the Spotswood mayor or the Spotswood council also got together with our police department and our fire department and did events here for the residents of Spotswood also. You want to do a joint one, Spotswood and Helmetta? Fine, no problem, do it. Ed and Chris can get together and do something, that's fine. But then advertise it that way. I mean, I would have gone for pizza if I wanted to, but I don't care. But I mean, it would really go a long way to start unifying this town. Because at this point, all I see is that Chris over there is doing a really great job, having event after event after event to bring the residents together, to become, to bring a little bit more pride into their neighborhood. And this town has nothing. We have an event here, but everything is in a silo. And if you don't belong to that silo, you're not going to hear about it and you're not going to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, Edward J. Smith, 395 All Stage Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. Okay, my one suggestion was Mrs. Wallace mentioned something about the board next door, but also on the Channel 26, which I know is the school, but they advertise a lot of stuff, and not just for the Board of Education on there. So maybe we can make the events available because some people may not be on Facebook.
26 Comcast or Fios?
Yeah, right.
Which one is it?
It's 26.
Is it
Comcast
or Fios?
I think that's Comcast.
I don't know, man, whatever the clicker says, to be honest with you. Yeah. No, I'm really not sure.
We don't have a pay, we
Yeah.
don't have a channel on Fios, is what I would.
Yeah, I know it's channel 26 on the cable channel. So, but I don't know who it's from.
I believe we do with FiOS.
It's not being used.
Right.
We do have one.
Because actually, we can pick up Monroe on 28.
We do, we
Jose-
have a file channel, and we also have a Comcast channel. The problem is that we don't have equipment for it.
Okay.
Okay, and that was one of the issues that we're trying to find out, how we could get it transferred from there, from the school over here. But then it's gonna be, where are we gonna put it, and where are we gonna put the equipment at? And who's gonna run it?
But we can ask the Board of Ed if they would allow us to run
right.
advertisements.
I'm
for the
just
library
passing
and
it out
further
there
events
as an
on the
option, that's all.
channel. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I could
Thank
definitely
you.
ask the Board of Ed if they'd be willing to do that.
Channels.
Yeah, I tried that. You don't know me.
You know what I forgot? James Wallace, 51 Woodland Road. I don't mean to rub a sore boil, but Dawn McDonald's still getting paid, right?
She's on administrative leave.
She's getting
Yes,
paid.
paid, yes.
It's something, must be nice. I would have kept her here cleaning windows or something.
Jackie Palmer, 9 Shupin Street, Spotswood, New Jersey. There's a form online on the Board of Education in order to advertise on that sign, to advertise on their TV channel. I believe that anybody, any organization, and I'm sure that the municipality would be approved by the Board of Ed, you fill out the form, and it just says what you want to say, how long you want it to run, it's an electronic form. So the
Okay.
Board of Ed definitely has the ability to do that.
Thank you, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
John Bouchard, 40 Maiden Lane here in Spotswood. I think I got it all. Just to echo, Facebook is pretty much how I know about everything that's going on. It's the reason I'm here tonight. Whoever posted the lovely yellow, thank you. That's why I'm here. It's also where I found out about a few things living here almost 4 years, that there's a basketball get-together. There's people that play volleyball each week. So just to echo, Facebook would be a great place to do that. It's not why I came up. I know there was a conversation about the parking lot with some disrepair. I've called Public Works a number of times, and the work's been done that I've asked for. I'm just expressing concern over the condition of some of the streets off of Manalapan. Maiden Lane is a patchwork of pothole repair and just cracked roadway. I'll have to be honest, I'm a little jealous right now. I drove here up Running, and Running's getting some milling and paving done seemingly. I don't know if that's part of the work through
Public-
PSE&G.
Public, yep.
If we can make a problem with PSE&G on Maiden, please do. I wouldn't mind the paving. But, you know, we're really fortunate at the end of our street, especially where you have a lot of new, younger couples moving in. And the first thing that all of us talk about when we get together at the middle of the street is, damn, our roads are bad. And our road specifically is like driving down a dirt road with things kicking up. So I appreciate all that's been done so far, and just, you know, ask the town to consider at least keeping an eye on it. The winter months have been really tough on our streets. We tend to get a lot of chunks of roads pulled up, and I know we're a dead end. I know we don't have the thoroughfare that other streets have, but it really would be something, you know, nice to see as we maybe our street continues to get a little younger with new residents coming in, that would be a feature of our street, that it's a nicely paved road and not the first negative that we are focusing on.
So we do make a list of roads every year. I don't know if you were here for the very beginning with the engineer's report, how we have about 10 roads that we're doing this year. So can you make sure that that road is on the list? So we'll add that road to your list. So for next year, when we're driving around and
Yeah.
doing what we got to do and trying to rate roads best we could, we'll definitely make sure we take
If
a
there's
look.
anyone I've taken some video just walking, you know, when I walk around, just taking video up and down the street of how, especially when it rains, and, you know, if you're seeing it on a dry day, it might look very different than what we kind
Right.
of call Lake Spotswood, that forms in the middle. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, too. Anyone else from the public? Make a motion to close public portion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
Aye.
Fire department.
Everybody else?
I made it for some money.
I know. I ain't messing with you.
I give it to you.